Welcome to the Coast to Coast podcast, brought to you by Play Picks and the Lines, coming to you from the West Coast. Josh Lander, joined as always by my guy, Nate Weitzer on the East Coast. We are looking at Game 3 in Los Angeles. Clippers and Suns. The big news, Chris Paul, not Cliff Paul, from his State Farm commercials, is coming back from COVID protocols and will be playing in Game 3. So a bunch to look at there, how that affects what the odds are, and a few of the player props as well. Make sure you still have a FanDuel or DraftKings account. If you don't, head to fdpicks.com or dkpicks.com. Find all those local listings and playoff promos available in your area, and make sure you're liked and subscribed to that page. Jump in the comments. We will have a prop available for you guys to throw in the comments for a gift card opportunity. Last one we had was Booker's points, rebounds, and assists in Game 2. Pat Bev put a bunch of the clamps on him, so that 29-point rebound and assist total was not guessed, pretty low. But we'll have another one here for you in just a sec after we jump into all the lines and series odds from you, Nate.
Yeah, that's what they call the clamps, right? Giving him a nice forearm shiver, so he has to go get stitched up. So Kawhi Leonard is not walking through that door, and the Clippers go back to LA. They are only plus 1.5. It started at plus 1 with the Chris Paul news. Apparently, he's only worth half a point to odds makers as we stand. I imagine that line's going to rise a little bit as people like us, Josh, bet the Suns early. The total did move up from 218.5 to 221 with CP3 playing. And surprisingly, the Suns, their series odds went down from minus 800 to minus 700. And their odds to win the title got a little bit better as well, from plus 120 to plus 130. So interesting, after you see how the Bucks look in Game 1 against the Hawks, maybe the Suns are the favorite to win the title. Maybe it's worth putting a little change on that. In any case, looking at Game 3, I think these Clippers, it's a familiar situation for them. We know they're not just going to fold because they didn't manage to steal Game 2. A very good effort in Phoenix and just really exciting finish there. But I don't think they're going to be able to win this game with some sort of offensive explosion like they did against Utah. We've been harping on this since the series started. Phoenix just too good, too switchable, too good at guarding the three-point line to allow the Clippers to have that type of success with their spread game. And now they have to play Zubac because Ayton has been destroying them. He has 44 points on 22 for 29 field goal shooting, including the game winner on a nice lob dunk that Ben Simmons is thinking he should have passed back to the inbounder instead of getting that one there. But the fact is that they have to play Zubac to deal with this guy. Marcus Morris has been a disaster so far in this series. He's not really big enough to handle Ayton. So they can't do their 5-out offense. And Ty Lue's been trying to find the right mix and match to find holes in this Phoenix defense, which has just been excellent all playoffs. Still looking at a defensive rating of 100.8. And now welcoming back their leader, Chris Paul, who, whatever you say about his actual physical dimensions, is somehow a better defender than Cam Payne and will only help them on that end of the floor. So staying consistent, we liked under 109.5 for the Clips in Game 2, and now it's 110. I'm taking that under for sure. And if the spread remains at just 1.5, I have no problem teasing the Suns up to about 3.5, 4 points. I think if they win this game, it's going to be with a complete effort, as we've seen recently, just doing it on both ends of the floor and potentially just putting the series away by taking a 3-0 lead on the road.
Yeah, I think, obviously, like we said, the story is what will happen with Chris Paul back. And also you have to consider what we've seen in the recent history from the Clips since they haven't had Kawhi, especially against the Suns team, who is doing things on defense that even, no one else has done so far in the playoffs that they've seen. Obviously, the Lakers were somewhat of a grinded out team, but, then we saw a lot more of an offensive explosion from them against the Nuggets to help that out. And I think we're seeing from the Clippers exactly what you said. There's a lack of defense. And the problem with Marcus Morris is not just that he wasn't able to even come close to handling Ayton. It's also that he didn't provide the offense on the other end for the exact reason why he he's playing that small ball five, missing, all of his 3-point shots in game one, not providing much in game two either. And how will Paul George come back from missing 2 free throws at the end of the game that would have put them up by 3, causing the Suns to need, more than just an alley-oop dunk at that point and need a 3-pointer, essentially icing or at least guaranteeing that they would be, headed to the to overtime. So, I think, for this game, I would look at some unders. The other things I was looking at is, like I said, the impact that Chris Paul will have on his team and the other team being back. Specifically, I still like, DeAndre Ayton's points. I think that'll only be helped by Chris Paul coming back and throwing him some lobs. I think we will see Chris Paul look to get others involved more rather than come in and necessarily insert himself, as they're already up 2-0 and doing just fine on offense with Booker as well. I think you look at Booker's points. As a result of CP3 being back, he won't have to do as much in the way of ball handling and setting up the offense, which means Pat Bev will be running around screens rather than just able to pick him up at half court and ball hawk him. So you look at his over 30.5 points, and then a couple of things to consider when it comes to the two star point scorers in this game, Paul George and Devin Booker. Interestingly enough, both similar props in terms of if you take Paul George 30 points and a Clippers win, if you do think that that's what's coming in game 3, I think you think that, you have to think if the Clippers are going to win game 3, Paul George is going to have 30 plus points. But if both those things happen, you can get that for plus 285 on FanDuel. And then similarly, like I said, I do still like Booker to go over 30 in this game. And that with that parlay and player combo on FanDuel with a Suns win is plus 255 on your money there.
Yeah. And I mean, Booker is going to be a little more freed up by Paul's presence. I don't know if Patrick Beverley is going to spend the entire game on him again. And the fact is, if you're playing both Beverley and Zubac, your offense is going to suffer. The Clippers, just going back to that I just don't trust their team total right now. Paul George has just not been efficient with his high usage. He's 20 for 50 from the field in this series. He missed 7 straight threes to open game 2. They're doing a great job. I mean, Mikal Bridges is a great defender. Tough to get shots off over that guy's wingspan. So I don't know where the Clippers necessarily turn. I mean, Luke Kennard was the spark for them down the stretch there. Do still like Reggie Jackson, but I just come back to that they don't have enough of a balanced lineup to go to. And without Kawhi, now CP3 coming back, I don't see how this spread is as close as it is.
No, the spread too, and the more we continue on this pod, the more I feel great about unders, and specifically, as we said, the way that the Clips need to play this series now is muck it up, right? That's why they brought in Zubac and played Pat Bev as well so often, is because they need to account for the stars on the other side. And with Chris Paul coming back and another weapon and ball handler, that's only going to increase the need for the Clips to go ahead and slow the thing down. And you also look at the pace that the Suns play when Chris Paul's not in. It's much faster. When he's in, he's the guy that you hand the ball off to bring it up the court and set things up, and he moves at his own pace, which as of the last bunch of years has been very, very slow. And then consider as well the road splits. I think Chris Paul and company they ramp up that. We'll bring it hard in the third quarter and then slow it down entirely in the fourth and not really let you build any momentum and keep you at arm's bay, which only continues to increase the likelihood of that under. And like I said, those road splits for the Suns, they score, they average about 7 points less in the game when they're on the road. They score 5 less, they give up 2 less, and the Clips, they have been known to score more at home, especially because of the fact that they're relying on more role players right now, especially without Kawhi. So you think the role players will play better at home, but still, like I said, I think overriding that is that the Suns will control the tempo with a guy like Chris Paul, so we can feel good about some unders there. Either way, before we go, Nate, we do want to say we have that gift card opportunity. We're going to go ahead and make it CP3's stats, his points, rebounds, and assists combined. Make sure you're liked and subscribed to that page. Jump in the comments and let us know his points, rebounds, and combined total as he makes his way back from that COVID protocol. And we'll be looking at seeing what you guys think is going to happen in this exciting Game 3. Pretty big moment for the Clips. They've come down 2-0 a couple times already, but this one is pivotal for them without Kawhi. So we'll see how that goes. And until we are back with another video for you guys as these playoffs roll on, happy betting.